Alrighty, everybody, I started recording. Um, we'll get class started right here shortly. I want to say thank you for taking your time out of your busy day. I'll make it quick. I think the hardest one is probably going to be the Desert Storm. I'll try to keep it short, but just with the tactics and all that good stuff. All right. So the very first lesson that I'm gonna start with is the waterfall method. Reason I'm doing this again is because I had a lot of outside alliances hit me up because they really want to learn how to maximize their points for total mobilization for it. And honestly, the best method to do it is waterfall method with your barracks. So what is the waterfall method? All right, all it is that your barracks are staggered in levels. All right, your main barrack, the main one that you need to always have at either max or where your main troops are at. All right, that one's usually gonna be like the one that's maxed out. So like for me, the last time I upgraded my barracks was when I was at level HQ level 27. You know, and I kept it there because I'm like, oh, well, it's not a requirement for me to push to 30, so I'm just gonna keep it there. But eventually, I'm gonna get it to 29. All right, and then obviously I'm gonna push some of these also as well. But in the meantime, with the waterfall method, all it is that your barracks are staggered in level. All right, and this is just so you're able to train. All right, from one level down of whatever your barracks is. So, for example, my level 18 barracks. Oop, wrong button. All right, can only train. All right, T6s. But throughout the week, I am training T5s so I can promote them, if that makes sense. All right. So throughout the week, all my four barracks are training nothing but level fives. All right. And then when it's time for like events such as unit progression, all I have to do is promote them. And I'm actually going to show you exactly how I do it because I still need to do my arms race so you can actually see that. All right. Always kind of remember this. Try to keep them 3 levels below. All right. So as you can see for level 27, since I haven't upgraded it in a hot minute, 3 levels below that is level 24. So that means level 24s can only train some T8s. All right. From 24, 3 levels below that is level 21, which the max for it is T7s. And then, as you already know, from 3 levels below 21 is 18, which the max is T6. All right. I'm going to show you how it looks. I'm actually going to use my speed ups because I need a. All right. So, as you can see, by me doing that, not only with my level 18, I can now promote to level 5. Now with my level 21, I can promote those T6 that I just did. With my level 24, I can now also promote my T7s to T8s. And then my very last barracks, I can now promote my T8s to T9s. All right. This allows you, this method allows you, wrong button, to pretty much get points for training T5s, T6, T7s, T8, all the way up to T9s for each of those points. So you'll see that I'll be getting points, all right, for each of those. I'm actually gonna do a couple rushes on them so you can see. So you see now I'm gonna promote, 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 and promote. I'm actually gonna rush these because I'm also gonna show you the next part of this training, and I need to hit my versus points.
Also, like they restrict the Secretary of Defense from the benefit of using that as well when they're able to right?
I don't use I don't use that buff just because of like whenever this event is happening, it gets crowded. You can. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm about to show you why I don't really use it for it. You know, I'm actually gonna promote a couple of these. I want y'all to take note of the time. All right, so I'm gonna be slow on these. So I'm gonna promote my T5s to T6. Take a note of the time. 2 hours and 45 minutes. 2 hours and 50 minutes. 2 hours and 50 minutes. And 2 hours and 50 minutes. Right now, what I just did by doing that waterfall method, all my barracks are gonna finish at the same time. How did I do that? All right. Well, the way I did that is because of my survivors. All right. I have my best survivors in my weakest barrack or in my lowest tier barrack. So these are my best survivors that money can buy or that last word can supply. All right. I have them in my lowest level barracks. All right. My next best survivors, I have them in my next lowest level barracks. And then I got these guys right here. And then obviously my worst ones are in these right here. Why did I do that? All right. I'm going to show you why in a second. Let me actually do it from here. I got to take them off real quick. Where you at? Right here. Wrong one. Let's put, which one is it? Is it Javier? Amanda, John, Allison, and David. There you are. This is the tedious part right here. Or better yet, I'll just put some horrible ones right now. And now it'll be able to do it. Yeah. Where you at? Yeah, right here. That's fine. I'll put yeah here. I'll put yeah here, and obviously my good ones are gonna be here. Let's rush these. All right. So what I just did right now, I pretty much put all my survivors in my best barrack. All right. I want y'all to take note. I'm not gonna promote them because I don't want to be. I want to be using a bunch of speed ups for it. All right. 2 hours and 26 minutes if I were to do T5s to T6 right now. 2 hours and 41 minutes if I want to do it from T6 to T7. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Am I low on resources right now? That's probably why. Let me make sure. Oh, no, I'm good. Am I missing something? Hold on. Let me make sure. Yep, they're here. Yep, they're here. They're here. Or did I finally balance out? No. Oh, take it back. It's not through promoting. It's actually with the level six. I mean, with the level fives. All right. Take note of these times frame right here. If I would have trained throughout the weeks, all right, my T5s, all right, it will take me 19 minutes or 20 hours. So you see, that's like about 2 hours apart. This one is about 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours apart, and then this one is way off. By having my survivors in with my lowest tier barracks, I'm able throughout the week have them finish all at the same time. So I'm not having to use speed ups to rush this one right here because this one would take about 2 hours. All right, as to compare this one right here will take about 14 hours. All right, let me switch them back so I don't forget. I hate doing this part. Worst ones. And then we'll do a comparison again. Mhm. Where you at? Bam, bam, and bam. Now, oh, let me start from right here. Now look, this one finishes at 17:36. This one finishes at 17. This one finishes also at 17. And then I think this one is roughly 16:30. So now they're like roughly 30 minutes apart from each other as to compare hours from apart from each other, if that makes sense. Any questions on the waterfall method? All right. So really throughout the week, whenever you get this arms race over here, all right, a good practice to do is do it as soon as it starts, because you know arms race takes about 4 hours, every single one. So as soon as it starts, you know you could easily come in here, train your, promote your troops. Oh, look, I already got my versus points. All right, and they'll pretty much finish around the same time with each other. All right, so in about 2 hours and 50 minutes, you know, you could just collect, rinse, and repeat, and then you'll be able to get all, where you at? All three of your boxes without having to use any speed ups. All right, at least for this, you know. For total mobilization, what I like to do is as soon as total mobilization starts, I'm just promoting throughout the day. All right, that's why I still have a bunch of T5s with me because I'll just promote throughout the day because this is time. You know, towards the end when it's time for us to push, you know, that's when I'll come in here and I'll start using speed ups. Where we at? I'll start using some of my training speed ups. All right, in case we need a push for verses or anything like that. You know, but as soon as total mobilization starts, I just start promoting. All right. Another useful tip is timing your is timing your barracks to finish either when this event is about to start, all right, or whenever the next one is going to start. All right, so our next one is actually right after reset. I hate this setup right over here. I hate it when they do this right here because it forces me to keep a couple more troops to be able to promote. I need to keep at least two waves of troops to promote so I could get these boxes right over here. All right, but let's say this event is over with. All right, I'll look here at the calendar and see like, oh, the next one is not until here. All right, cool. I'll just keep training a bunch of T5s. All right, and then I just let them cook till then. All right, all four barracks will be cooking a bunch of T5s all the way up to the next um all the way to the next unit progression. Let's say um let's say they finish training around, we'll say, tech research. As soon as tech research right over here started, your troops just ended. I kind of do the math. All right, I'm like, all right, it takes 4 hours from here and another 4 hours from this to start. So about 8 hours. So what I do is I'll still train. I'll train a bunch of T5s to hit around that hour frame. So as soon as this event starts, all right, like let's say the my T5s finished right here, and I did a 8 hour to kiss me right here. I'll just collect them, and then I start promoting. I'll start doing my promotion so I could hit my three boxes because these three boxes are like super critical and important, especially for all these speed ups. Once you get that third one, but above all, this the skill medals, and then to not be able to use any speed ups. All right, for this event is like hey, technically it's like it's pretty much for free. All right, if that makes sense. So like literally once I got my, oh, let me see where I'm at. Okay, I'm happy like that. Now I might do a little bit more of a push, um, to stay in the top 30. All right, but that's that on the waterfall method. Any questions on it? No, silence is good. All right, the next subject I'm gonna go over is pretty much how can I maximize my rewards and ensure like it doesn't get plundered. All right, because let's be honest, stamina and diamond, honestly, in my honest opinion, are like what drives this game. If you don't have stamina, you can't do a bunch of the events, such as oh, oh, this is the last event. Perfect. Oh shoot, wrong one. All right, such as running Doom rallies. All right, but here's the kicker. You know, I was sitting down last night and I'm like, yo, how can I make sure these Dooms or even Go Zombies that are coming next week? How can I make sure like they don't get plundered? Because we're about to go to Warzone. I'm about to get attacked. I'm gonna get plundered. How can I make sure like all my hard work throughout the week it's pretty much secure? It's been in all of our faces this whole entire time. I messed up this morning. I collected them. All right, I collected these and I wanted to show y'all like, hey, this kind of works. But last night when I woke up this morning, I ended up collecting all of these. You see this little icon? This when I first played the game, this was never on here. It literally reads, "Unclaimed rewards will vanish after 100 hours. Make sure you claim them on time." Thank you, Max, for telling me. About 100 hours equals about 4 days. So that means I can have all these rewards right here sitting, all right, for up to 4 days. I prefer you keep it up to 3 days, and nobody can touch these. So, where's our schedule? So if you start stacking up, all right, on heck, even train hero day, all right, and even on mobilization day, all right, and even towards the end of Buster, okay, you can let this stack up, and it's not gonna get plundered. All right, especially if you know you're not gonna do a build, you're not gonna do anything crazy within those 3 days. Let it stock up, and it's not gonna get plundered. The only thing that's gonna get plundered is what you have right here. As soon as you hit the collect button, these resources that you worked hard for throughout the week or throughout those 3 days, they are now plunderable unless obviously you have a shield. But obviously we don't want to, use a shield because remember we're about to go to war zone. Some of us are going to be in the mud, some of us are going to get attacked. All right, and these resources that you have right here are going to get plundered. All right, try to get in the habit of leaving them in here. All right, for up to 3 days. I think 3 days is pretty a good balance. I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have saved how many I had, like 58, like 58 ready to collect this morning, and I ended up hitting the collect all button. My bad on me. I wish I could have shown you, but you could just let these beautiful rewards here sit right here because as soon as you hit the collect button, I'm gonna collect these so y'all can see and really watch, my resources. All right, here we go. I'm about to collect. I just now made them plunderable. All right, so that means during Warzone, those hard-earned gold, iron, and bread, is now plunderable. All right, so this is just another way, for you to kind of protect your resources, protect the hard work that you all have been doing throughout the week. I didn't know about it. So literally last night, I was just like, man, how can I? These Doom rallies, these are like nearly gold zombie, level. How can I protect, my hard work? I don't want to use it right now because yeah, right now resources are going to be sacred, you know. But that's my useful tip right there that I want you to hold on to. All right, a good practice would be, if it's about to be Buster, if you want to start hoarding during Train Hero Day, hoard during Mobilization Day, and even hoard towards the end of Buster. Once you have a bubble, and you're like, hey, I'm done with Buster. I'm not gonna be attacking or anything. I'm gonna have a bubble and write it out to reset. And then towards the end, then you could finally hit
So
that.
you need to be aware because through the shallow fake, they're taking a real picture or a video and adding just a touch of the AI.
Hello,
They're taking
someone's
this thing and it's
so, so, someone's mic on. Thank you. Max, can you mute whoever's mic is on, please? I can't mute it right now. All right, thank you. But yeah, that's my useful tip that I will leave with you. All right, this you can read up on it right there after 100 hours. All right, then that's when everything in here will disappear unless you hit this collect all button. All right, me, I'm gonna see how high I can get within 3 days of hoarding it. I'm gonna take a little screenshot and then even a screenshot of how much resources I can hoard within 3 days. Just off of this right here, especially during zombies, gold zombies. Especially those last 3 days till Buster. And y'all also let me know. All right. Any questions on that useful tip that I just shared with y'all on how to maximize your resources and ensure it doesn't get plundered? No? Awesome. 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 All righty. I'm going to move on now. Um, I love Desert Storm because number one, it's a good way to practice attacking other buildings. It's a good way to capture other buildings, and it's a good way for you to get comfortable on losing troops. All right, because at the end of the day, on Desert Storm, all right, whatever troops you lost, you get it all back. All right, in a sense, you enter the game. All right, you enter Desert Storm with a full drill of max whatever your barracks level is. So if you're a level 27, all right, and you don't have a barracks level 27 to unlock your T9s, you're sorry to say, but you're gonna start with a max drill full of T8s. All right, if I'm wrong on that, let me know. If I'm wrong on that information, just let me know. All right, because as you can see, I'm a level 30 and I don't have T10s. So I know that right there for a fact. You start off with at least the max level of your barracks. All right, remember you'll start with a full drill. Your drill will be completely full. All right, for Desert Storm. All right, we do not want to heal troops. All right, the only time we want to heal troops, all right, is using this button right here. We do not want to use the manual heal troops because it'll require you to use speed ups. All right, we want to save those heal speed ups for like Warzone versus or actual like events. You know, we want to use this button right here to heal our troops. All right, Desert Storm. All right, in Neza, we kind of do assign buildings. All right, we assign people to buildings. All right. Lately we've switched it up now to where like four people are or four players are on one building. Specifically, all right, the main critical buildings that we really need to keep the fight going. All right, which is the green ones. The green ones are the hospital. You got the upper and you got the lower on the northeast. You got upper and lower on the southeast. These four hospitals, all right, are critical because we get 15 troops per 10 seconds that we hold the hospital. All right. Remember, when you lose troops in Desert Storm, technically they are dead until you start capturing some hospitals. All right. If we don't have any hospitals, then our troops are dead in Desert Storm, if that makes sense. All right. So that's why we want to really hold the hospital. You do not need to keep your troops in any of the buildings. All right, you just need to capture it and then send your troops back to your base. All right, they don't need to stay in there in the building. We just need to send your squad out, capture the building, and send them back. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. The other buildings are also just as good. All right. The other buildings are just as good, especially where you at? The science hub right here, which is blue. All right. The science hub right here provides us a teleport cooldown. All right, to reduce it by 1 minute. All right, so holding this building is just as good to keep the fight going. All right, another good building to also hold is the oil refinery. All right, the oil refinery right here gives us extra more points per building that we hold. So if we're holding all four hospitals, all right, plus the science hub, plus the my bad, the info center, not the oil refinery, the info center. All right, we're getting extra points just by holding those buildings. So this building is also just as good. All right. Now the two oil refineries, which is red, all right, they give out the most points. They give out 50 points per second for holding these two buildings. All right, so imagine if we had all the buildings. All right, that will be very great and beneficial. All right, the mercenary and the arsenal, they provide buffs. They provide the arsenal provides a 50% attack boost to heroes. All right, and then the mercenary provides a reduction. all right, of attack boost to heroes for the enemy. All right, and then the silo just gives out the most points. It gives out 80 points. All right, for holding the silo. All right, if I am a starter and I am assigned, all right, this building right over here. All right, and I'm a sub also. All right, I want to focus on my building. All right, I'm gonna port in. I'm gonna capture the building, and then I'm gonna bring my troops back. All right, both me and my partner, or all four of my partners. All right. If another player ports right next to me, let's say I'm right here. All right, and they port. Hold on one second. I gotta change my settings real quick. Come on. I gotta. Where my battery's about to die over here on my laptop. Okay, it's in energy saver mode. All right, good. All right, that's all I need to see. But let's say I'm here. All right, right over here. All right, my partners are like right over here, and the enemy port's like right next to me. Depending on who it is, all right, I'm gonna do two things. If I'm a level 27 and a level 24 ported right next to me, I'm gonna wait and see what they do. All right, are they gonna attack me or are they gonna go for the building? All right, if they attack me, I know they're level 24. I'm a level 27. I have T9s. All right, his T8s are gonna get cooked. All right, as soon as they get to my base. All right, so I'm gonna quickly put troops on the wall. All right, and then once his attack is done, I'm gonna take the troops off. All right, if he goes for the building, all right, and I'm right here, I'm gonna let him go for the building. My teammates who are across, all right, both of them or all three of them should be going in to take over the building, to kick them off the building. All right. In the meantime, I'm gonna scout and see if that was his main squad that he sent out. All right. I'm gonna scout the building and see if, like, hey, is that his main squad that he sent out? Oh, it was. Or I'm gonna go to Ashen. All right. But be careful because remember he might have two other squads. All right, still at his base. All right, that he could potentially put on the wall. All right, but regardless, guess who might be next to him? Who should also be scouting him to see if he put troops on the wall? All right, my other partner that's right here. All right, so if we like right now, Neza, we're doing 4 people per building. All right, one right here, another one right here, another one right here, and another one right here. All right, like we really gotta like hold down the hospital. All right, because the hospital is like it keeps the fight going. It keeps us with troops. All right, it just keeps the fight going. Let's say I'm a level 27 and a level 30 ports right next to me. All right, they ported right next to me. I'm right here. They ported right next to me. I am going to skedaddle. All right, I am going to go from here to either this one or to any of the other hospitals that probably need help. All right, like let's say this hospital right here only has one of our teammates. All right, I'm gonna just port right over here. All right, once I see that level 30 port away, maybe they'll go to like the one of the oil refineries. Oh, they might even go to the silo. I'm gonna port back and capture the building. All right, I still want to stay within my building. All right, and making sure that we hold at least 3 out of the 4. If we hold 3 out of the 4 hospitals, we should be good. All right, we should be good getting 45 troops every 10 seconds. That's still pretty damn good. All right. Your goal for Desert Storm, all right, if you are a starter and you're in charge of a building, you should mainly go for the building first. All right. The only time you should try to ash somebody is if they're weaker than you. All right. If they're weaker than you and or if they don't have troops on the wall. All right. Do not try to go fight a level 30. All right. Especially if they have troops on the wall. You're just gonna lose troops. All right. You want to deplete the opponent's troops as much as possible to where they only have like 2 troops, on their base. They're only fighting with 2 troops. You know, and the best way to really do it, is when they send their troops in. My teammates should be going in to attack them. Or obviously, when they don't have any troops on the wall, hey, go in to ash them and get them away from the building as far as possible. All right. If I get ashed, all right, I'm a starter and I get ashed and I get ported to the sideline and I'm a sub, I should be watching that building and I should be ported in immediately. All right, because what's gonna happen is your where are you at? Your teleport cooldown is still probably kicking. You probably have a minute or a minute and 30 to wait on the sideline till you port back in. All right, that's why it's important to have subs. All right, if you have a sub, that's why it's important to have as many as you can of them because they can quickly port right back in and continue the fight. If I'm also a sub and I'm waiting to kind of port into the map and I'm just chilling right over here, all right, as a sub, I should be doing everything I can to send out troops to capture these two buildings, or even sending out scouts to capture the little gifts that usually pop out whenever a building gets captured. All right. Right now, all right. Do I have any questions on Desert Storm?
You have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, say I'm a starter or a sub, I guess it doesn't really matter. And I'm set for, let's say, the Mercenary Center. And I'm sitting there, I've captured it, nothing's happening, no one's here. Do I just sit here and just watch it and wait for someone to come?
All right. Yes and no. All right. Remember, the hospitals are super important to have. All right. If we control the hospitals, all right, we're gonna win the battle. All right. That's why lately we've been winning lots of battle. If you're chilling at the mercenary, all right, and the enemy has captured the one of the hospitals, all right, and then they went away, all right, and obviously nobody has recaptured the hospital. Hey, port in real quick, capture it, and then obviously port back to your assigned building, or wait a little bit, see if anybody's gonna capture it. If you see Chosen ported in right here, he captured the building. You should just be like, okay, he captured it. All right, I'm just gonna chill here. All right, and kind of monitor the battlefield and see where I'm probably needed at. Because if you're at the mercenary, or even the arsenal and the silo, I'm gonna tell you this: there's gonna be a lot of action there. There will be a lot of the main buildings that get most of the action are the hospitals. All right, the arsenal and the mercenary factory and the silo. All right, these 7 buildings, all right, are the main ones where the action is gonna be at. Holding these right here is like kind of like a luxury. There's going to be a little bit of action, but most of the action is going to happen at these right here. Does that answer your question?
Yep, that's helpful. So, just to summarize, say I'm at Merc or whatever, I'm going to be focused on my building, but also keeping an eye on the hospitals, the arsenal, the nuclear silo, and kind of everything else, but those are the main ones. Okay.
Good. All right. Good. Any other questions about Desert Storm? If there's one in the chat, let me know. I can't pull up the chat right now. None in the chat. None in the chat.
None in the chat, but Pro says thanks. This is helpful.
Okay, that's good to hear. Say that again.
If I launch sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. This is Chosen. Let's say if I launch a squad out, let's say it's my primary squad, right? And all of a sudden someone teleports right next to me. As long as the cooldown period has been completed, although my squads are out, I don't know if other players have recognized this. Even if my squad, all 4 squads are out, I can still teleport out.
Yes.
So if someone is like waiting for their squads to return, you don't have to wait. As long as your teleport is available, you can utilize this and you can escape out of this.
All right, you got to be monitoring that teleport cooldown, which will look like this. It'll have a minute, it'll have a timer right below it that's usually green. Once the timer is over with, it'll disappear and then it'll look like this button right here. All right. As long as you have the button looking like this, no matter where your squad is at, you can teleport out of there. All right. You'll be able to teleport from wherever you are. This is why for the attackers, I like this time around I'm an attacker for Desert Storm. All right, I'm gonna go in last. I'm gonna wait till the enemy or a weak base ports in. All right, like let's say a level 24 ports in right over here. I'm gonna go in on that level 24 because I know they cannot teleport because they gotta wait on their cooldown. All right, and I'm just gonna ash that base. All right, hopefully the people that are right also guarding the hospital are probably gonna also join me on ash in that base. And then I'm gonna look for small bases. The annoying ones, the ones that we really gotta like annihilate are the weak bases. All right, the ones that are like, hey, this base is weak. Get rid of them. All right, because those are the support. We get rid of the support, the attackers are gonna like run out of troops. All right, the attackers are gonna be busy going after Astro, Hickey, Soul, heck, even me. All right, and they're gonna waste their troops attacking us. While we're over here hunting their little weak players. They're players that are usually coming around to capture these buildings right over here, especially the hospital. We wanna eliminate those weak players first, and then their attackers are gonna be like, yeah, we ran out of troops because nobody didn't have any troops to capture any building. You know. All right. Any other questions? All right. There's one building that I didn't mention. Um, Towards the end, if we have all the buildings, all right, and our opponent is not trying to like push, like they've pretty much given up. All right, let them have the oil wells. Let them get a couple points. Let's not be rude. All right, all you got to do is just send your squads out to gather. All right, but just send them out to gather. They just give out a little bit of extra points. Especially if we're like winning by a landslide. Even us, like just send them out to the oil wells and and collect them. But even let the enemies, do that a little bit. Like let them get something out of it. Because they've already given up. Especially when we have all the buildings. But don't go for the oil wells. That's why, as you saw, I pretty much got rid of the oil wells from our buildings to go after. These are just optional. All right, but they're there. All right, they're like little wells. You could send them to gather, kind of like how we gather diamonds whenever we win Warzone or anything like that. As a reminder, don't use this heal. Use this one. So do not use this one. Use this one, the little home button, all right, to heal your troops. As long as we're holding enough hospitals. All right, we want to hold at least a minimum of 3 out of the 4. If we have all 4, even better, because we just cut off their ability to replenish troops. But as long as we hold 3 out of the 4, we're okay with that. But if we hold all 4, we're gonna be solid. All right, that is it for training. Thank you everybody that showed up. The video I have recorded. We'll get Vay to compress everything that I've said, and then of course we'll post it on the Alliance chat. We'll even get a couple of them translated to different languages, which will be super beneficial for those that don't want to watch a video but they just want to read up on it real quick. But yeah. But thank you everybody. I'll see you all for Desert Storm, and of course for Reset.
Thanks, Professor Wealthy. We'll see you in
Thanks,
hour
Ralphie.
15.
Alrighty. Yeah, take
Thank
it
you.
easy.
Professor.